Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Story Channel. Recently, Brandon shared that he had been feeling a special call to pray for a place called Coachella. At first, this word meant nothing to him. It was entirely unfamiliar. He didn't know the background or significance of this location. Yet, deep inside, Brandon believed that this was a divine directive from God, guiding him into action. As a pastor who had always followed God's will, Brandon immediately began praying for this unfamiliar place that in Brandon's daily life. Prayer was the bridge between him and the Lord, the source of strength from which he drew each day. He knew that prayer was not just a routine act of faith, but a spiritual practice that could bring about real change. Every time Brandon felt the Lord's call, he responded without hesitation, knowing that God would use these prayers to accomplish a greater purpose. However, this particular call to prayer felt unusually significant. To understand the word Coachella better, Brandon and his friends, along with his wife, began researching it. Together, they discovered that Coachella referred to a famous music festival known for drawing thousands of music lovers every year. As he came to understand this, Brandon realized the purpose of his prayers: to safeguard the large gathering and prevent any potential catastrophic events. A few days later, Brandon received shocking news. The police had arrested a man who had been carrying fake passports, fake license plates, and several guns, intending to attend the Coachella Music Festival. Although the suspect was eventually released, this incident confirmed Brandon's premonition. For him, this was not a coincidence. It was an intervention from God through the power of prayer, preventing what could have been a disaster. Deep within, Brandon felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and reverence. He knew that many people might doubt such a connection, but he was certain that God had intervened to avert tragedy. "This is the work of God," Brandon said with conviction. "Even though many may not believe it, I know that God was behind the scenes, protecting those people." Brandon had witnessed firsthand the Lord's acts and miracles, seeing how prayer had the power to change what seemed to be uncontrollable circumstances. These experiences not only strengthened his faith but also reaffirmed his belief that prayer is the most powerful form of communication between humanity and God, a sacred force capable of altering destiny. His soul was ablaze with the fire of the Lord, immersed in His grace. Brandon could feel divine power coursing through him, compelling him to deliver this urgent message to his congregation. On this day, the mission he carried felt weightier than ever before. Yet, the revelations God gave Brandon extended beyond the safety of the Coachella Music Festival. In the days that followed, through prayer, Brandon began receiving a series of broader and more profound warnings. These warnings were not only about personal safety but also concerned the future of the entire world. Brandon foresaw a series of global crises, including natural disasters, economic turmoil, and escalating wars. Brandon recalled one frightening vision the Lord had shown him. "I saw a massive volcanic eruption about to happen in Italy. Coastal cities would be destroyed in an instant, and hundreds of thousands of people would perish in a matter of minutes." This vision deeply shocked Brandon, and he understood that it was not merely a warning but a call from God, urging him to pray for the protection of those who would face such disasters. Although these catastrophic events had not yet occurred, Brandon firmly believed that the appearance of these warnings was God's way of awakening people. He wanted to remind them to seek refuge through prayer and turn to God for protection. Prayer, according to Brandon, was a weapon capable of resisting evil and overcoming darkness. Through faith, people could shield themselves from future calamities. Not only did Brandon pray himself, but he also encouraged his congregation to participate, offering their prayers for the peace and safety of the world. In addition to natural disasters, Brandon foresaw a major economic crisis looming on the horizon. In his vision, he saw the rapid devaluation of the US dollar, the freezing of bank accounts, and skyrocketing oil prices. Brandon described what he had witnessed. Oil prices soar past $200 per barrel, and gasoline prices surge beyond $10 per gallon. Meanwhile, tensions in the Middle East escalate, and the shadow of war hangs over the entire region. Brandon told his congregation that while these crises sounded alarming, They were not meant to instill fear, but to remind people to prepare. He urged everyone to seek solutions through prayer and to use their faith to face these challenges. Brandon emphasized that prayer was not merely a source of comfort, but a divine gift given to believers, through which they could find the wisdom and courage to confront future difficulties. While Brandon saw ominous signs, he also glimpsed the light of hope. In God's revelations, Brandon saw an unprecedented spiritual revival about to sweep across the globe. This revival, like a tidal wave, would change the lives of countless people in various nations. He recalled the historical Welsh revival, during which the glory of God descended upon an entire city and the lives of the workers were dramatically transformed. In the mines, workers stopped their profane language as their hearts were filled with newfound faith, even causing the mules and donkeys, accustomed to hearing curses, to be confused and unable to work. Brandon believed that this coming revival would not only change individual lives but also reshape the future of entire nations. He encouraged his congregation to pray for this revival, asking for God's glory to once again descend and illuminate the world. With great emotion, Brandon said, we must not only pray for our own lives but also for our nation. The future of America does not lie in the hands of any political leader. True salvation comes from Jesus Christ and a spiritual awakening. Brandon emphasized that relying on political leaders to solve the world's problems would not work. Only when people humble themselves and return to faith would God heal the nation. Prayer, he said, was not just a personal responsibility but a collective mission for society. Through the united prayers of many, people could come together to seek peace and safety for both their country and the world. Brandon likened himself to a watchman standing on the city walls, tasked with issuing warnings to the people about the impending crises and the revival to come. With a resolute voice, he called out, urging everyone not to be paralyzed by the darkness they see but to find their way to light and hope through prayer and faith. He believed that although the future was full of challenges, each person could discover their path through faith. In Brandon's story, he was more than just a preacher. He was a leader who could see the future and took on the responsibility of guiding people towards spiritual awakening. He used the power of faith to inspire his congregation, reminding them that the future was in God's hands. Only through prayer could they find the strength and wisdom to respond. Brandon's prophetic revelations stirred deep reflection and inspired countless people to pray. Through his story, we see the power of prayer and its critical role in times of crisis. Brandon not only conveyed God's revelations but, with his unwavering belief and tireless efforts, led his congregation toward light and hope. His story was not just a personal calling but a call to all. Through prayer and faith, every one of us can overcome future challenges and find inner peace and strength. As Brandon's message concluded, his words continued to echo in the hearts of his listeners. This was not merely a warning about the end times but a revelation filled with hope and redemption. Through Brandon's visions, we all glimpsed a picture of the future, of the Lord's return and the revival of the last days. No matter how unpredictable the future may be, faith remains our guiding light, leading us toward brightness. Every soul has the opportunity to accept the Lord's redemption, and this moment is when we must prepare for eternity. May every listener draw inspiration from Brandon's story and be ready to embrace the glory of the Lord. Subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, like, and share this video so that more people can keep their faith in these times.